Hi, welcome back to Lakeside Quilt Making Arts. Thank you for being here and giving me some of your time. Today's video is a recap of everything that we've done in the past week, the work we've done each day, and any progress that I've made on those projects since then, or any significant thoughts about them and about how they will progress. The other thing that we'll do at the end of the video is that we will do a little bit of a shout out to some other accounts from where I have received some inspiration this week, or I have targeted their channel as being one that I can get some inspiration going forward. I'll explain more in just a minute. Let's go ahead and jump on in. I took some quick notes. I pulled up lists of the videos from this week and took a couple of quick notes and try to be brief for you. I will reference my notes, so I'm not being rude if I look down. The first thing that we did, of course, our week starts on Sunday, and that's with our Pick a Petal, the block of the month with the quilt show, Jen Kingwell's block of the month. Fabulous quilt. You can see over my shoulder here. I feel good about the progress I made for two reasons. I got myself ready to start block 2, and I found out what was holding me up on block 1 and overcame that. I got successfully made a block using Barbara Black's method, and then deconstructed and reassembled one of the crescent swoops on the block from block 1 that had been giving me some trouble, and realized that I had indeed stitched the straight side of that crescent onto the curve, and that's why I had a bias, some ruffling there. So it made me feel better, gave me a little bit of a confidence boost that I had not been horribly mishandling my fabrics, because I didn't think that I had been, and I didn't think that I had cut it on a bias. So that made me feel better. So on this next video, I will be starting block 2. I don't know that I'll get done. I've got a jam-packed couple of days leading up to that. Today, my nephew is here, and when we took some time to just walk the park, and we went into town for a doctor's appointment for me, physical therapy, so it was an easy one, but it still, it was half a day by the time we did all that. So there wasn't any time in the studio. And then tomorrow we're going to go to the quilt show. Saturday we had to be in town for something. So there's not a lot of time left for me to actually do too much in preparation for the video. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to have a good quality video for you. Stand by on that one. I have something up my sleeve. So the next video, oh my gosh, this is where my week got kind of wild. Wild in a good way. You just never know when those things that hit you are going to turn into big blessings. On the video that was released on Monday for Motor Blockheads, my machine, I thought my machine broke down on me. It just, after breaking a needle, it just didn't want to work. It was going so clunk, and it would pull the fabric down. And I was afraid I was going to really damage it. So I stopped. Fortunately, I was kind of mentally prepared to not finish that block for that day, because the center of that block was 16 patch star. It's supposed to be, not supposed to be, but can be just a completely scrappy star using little squares from all the different fabrics that you're incorporating into the quilt. And I don't have all of my fabrics, so I didn't want to finish that particular block until I had all those fabrics. So I wasn't too disappointed in that regard, but I really was worried about my machine. And gosh, I was thinking, oh my gosh, do I need to buy a new machine? I didn't want to buy another lower end machine, which I would have to do at this point. I wouldn't be able to go out and afford, a nice one like what I got in here right now. And it's like, oh my gosh, this is just, how am I going to turn this around so I can still make videos? And that next morning I got a phone call from one of my dear friends, and she gifted me with a loan of her Brother and Novus PS 700. And it is, just rocking my world. It's been a learning curve, which was quite evident on the video where I was trying to do some work on the unicorn quilt, which you can kind of see back there. I'll give you a close-up of it. I had to learn the machine as I was trying to learn how to thread sketch and do things like that for the first time as well. It was a lot of learning curve. I did produce more than what you saw in the video that was released on Wednesday, but I had to cut the content in half. So I did get further along on that quilt, then you can see even from this distance that that quilt is further along than what you saw in that video. But I didn't get to produce all that into a video just because of time. It was already a 45-minute video, and I wanted to show the progress that went into getting the quilt ready for this and the technical side of learning a new machine, especially if the only interaction you've had up to that point in your life is a basic Singer heavy duty, just a basic machine, and never had anything or been or set in front of a machine that does all that this machine does. So there's a huge learning curve on both sides. And for whoever else is out there, I wanted to provide that part of the journey as well. As I've said before, this is a blog style channel. It's a hashtag learn with me kind of channel. So I'm making sure that I don't shortchange those stories where I can. I want to tell them. This is not just say, hey, look at this pretty thing I made. Do you want to make it too? It's not that kind of thing. I hope to one day. I had a phone call come in and got a little distracted, so I'm not quite sure where I left off. But I do know that I felt like I had not really explained what had happened in the Tuesday video, and that was just where I had received the Brother Innova's PS700 from Margot and kind of got it set up. She taught me how to thread it, how to thread the bobbin, that kind of thing. So that perfectly fit the kind of content that we normally have on Tuesday releases. And that's kind of the technical side of the quilt maker studio life. That content is not uber nerdy typically, but sometimes I can get deep in the weeds on just some of the smaller nuances of things. Getting back to the Wednesday video, that's when I was working on the unicorn. I feel like I had a great day and overcame some hurdles. I had to keep on pushing and pushing and pushing through some obstacles to get to a place where I felt good about what I had completed for the day, and really had hoped that I would have it done before my granddaughter's birthday on Saturday, but that's just not going to be the case. So in fact, that was a phone call that came in while I was talking to you on this video, and I explained to her that I'm not done making her gift and that I will have it ready for her the following week. And she was quite all right with that, and that we will arrange a get together after her birthday. But I will be seeing her on her birthday, and she knows that, so we're all good. I feel better about that. I don't want to short change the production of it, and I also don't want to shortchange my time here with my nephew. He's here, and I'd rather that we went to the park today instead of doing more studio time. I want to have that kind of engagement with him too. So then what was released today? Oh, my nephew. Yes. We did a video yesterday that was released today, and that's where I interviewed him, and we got to show that he had produced, almost produced a quilt top last summer, but we have a few things to do to fine tune it and get it to a completed top. He's, so close, so close. We had to do a little bit of refreshers so that he can get familiar with the machine again, but he's just so on top of it and just such a quick learner, and concentrating on it that it's just effortless on my part to work with him because he's just like getting it. It's like a natural. So I'm just really enjoying that. It's just been really a blessing to have him here, and just such a pleasant experience all the way around. But I want it to be a full visit and not just about the studio or about the channel. So what's going to happen tomorrow? We're going to go to the quilt show happening in Huntsville, Alabama. I believe it's called the Heritage Quilt Show. Seems like there's another word in there. I have to look it up and put it on the screen. It's Friday and Saturday at the Civic Center, the Von Braun Center in Huntsville. And I think it should be a decent sized show, 200 and some entries, I believe, exhibitions. I have no idea what to expect. I'm going to be taking my camera. If they're going to let me shoot some video or just take photos, that's fine. I'll do whatever I need to do, whatever they allow. I'm looking forward to seeing what the local community is producing and to see the kinds of quilts that are out there in the community. Are most people traditionalists, or are there some modern people? Or is there this frenzy for applique? I don't know. Because I have not had a chance to really engage in the local community. I did go to one quilt guild meeting in person. That was just a standard quilt guild. And then I did join the modern one, and I got to attend that one virtually. But they had when I did, they had somebody from California presenting, so it wasn't an opportunity to get to really meet anybody. And the same thing with the one that I attended in person. I got to meet somebody at the table, but there really wasn't an opportunity to really engage and meet anybody and to learn about the people that are here locally. But again, for that one, there was a presenter from Georgia who was presenting, and I feel like I got to know more about her than anybody else here locally. And of course, I do see the quilts that are hanging up at the quilt store that I go to, and those are for classes and things like that. But I don't have any association between the quilts that I see on the wall to the names of the people or anything along those lines. My long armor, who I have used a few times, she has an Instagram account, and it's Quilting at the Cottage, and it's SHERRI SPIVEY. I'll put her Instagram account linked in the description of this video so you can find her. So I do see her Instagram account, and clearly she's getting local people's quilts. And so I do get a feel for what's being produced here locally by watching her account. But I think she's only recently been doing that, or I've just recently found her Instagram account, one or the other. So I've got a long ways to go with my local community, and I think this show is going to be a way to break that ice. It's a great opportunity for me to get to meet people and to link names with the quilts, and so we'll just see what happens. I don't want to have too high of expectations and get disappointed, but I am anticipating it being an enjoyable day. Asher's going to go with me. I don't know how it's going to go, but we're going to go and we're going to see how it goes. And I'm sure that will eat up all of our energy, or at least all of my energy. So I don't think I'll be able to produce anything on either the unicorn quilt or on the block of the month for the quilt show. So that'll be left for Saturday after my family event Saturday morning. So we'll see how much I get done. And what I hope I can do for that video is include some of the video from the quilt show. I hope I'm able to accomplish that and be able to present some of Huntsville's best to you guys. But now we're going to move on to the section where I talk about the different accounts that have been kind of a blessing to me, or they've inspired me or encouraged me, or just kind of tickled that creative bone. And I've got a short list here, and I'm going to run down them rather quickly in the essence of time for you guys and for myself. So one of the first ones, and this was one I just found this morning, but the account is called Studio.5, and the person who was interviewed is Cass, C-A-S, Holmes. She was a lovely woman, a fiber artist with some, I think, lovely world perspectives. So check her out if you have any interest in just listening to an artist talk about their world perspective, about how they see the world through their art and how their art is manifested through their worldview. She was just an easy person to listen to. And then the next one was Fiber Arts Take Two. And the person who was interviewed there is Sarah Z. Short. She was a younger woman, but she's still quite experienced, just younger than myself and Cass. She's a printmaker, and she was kind of marrying the worlds between printmaking and fiber arts and talking about the design process. And anytime anyone's talking about the design process, it is encouraging to me, and I enjoy listening to them. So she's worth a listen if you want to find her on Fiber Arts Take Two. As for the channels that I've identified to watch, but I have not yet gotten to, there are three. And one is, and I have watched some of this one, but not this week when I really need to get it in my head before I do much more on this unicorn quilt. It's Deborah Wirsu, textile artist. That's the name of the account. And Wirsu is W-I-R-S-U. She's a very talented woman in, I want to say Australia, I believe. Very talented. She's got a lot of good content. She's a good presenter, and there's lots I can learn from her. The next one on the list is Fiber Designs by Anne. And again, I've not watched any of hers, but it looks like there's a plethora of good videos there for me to learn from. And then there's the one that I did mention last week, and that's Sewing by Nancy. Again, I've identified her as somebody who is very knowledgeable, and I watched a little bit of one video yesterday, and that was 18 different applique types. 18 types of applique. When I heard that, my mind started whirling. It's like, oh my gosh, I had no idea. So how do I take that information that there are 18 different applique styles and translate that back to something that has value to me and value to you? So I'm kind of thinking that I might want to do a deep dive into that video and explore each one of them with you. Don't be holding your breath. I don't want you turning blue because I don't know when I would do that, but it is definitely something on my radar now that number one, her instruction is just nice and clear, and her production quality, was always really good. It's not like she was doing a YouTube video where she was figuring things out in her home. And she had an actual production crew. And so the lighting and the video work was always really, really well done, and her instructions are nice and clear. So I have some confidence that I can go back through that video, extract out what I can learn from it, and if I create videos of that and you're watching me learn from her, that might have some value for some of you. It'd be more than some of you. Not everybody out there is a beginning quilter, but we can all use some inspiration, right? So that sums up my week, and that sums up where I am with my videos that I'm learning from. Clearly, I have kind of had a narrow focus on the fiber arts, textile arts, because I'm wanting to figure out how to explore what I'm doing here on this unicorn quilt. It's been a fabulous week. I'm just delighted with this new machine, delighted that I've had my nephew here. And just some weeks you think you can't pull it together because all of your plans fall apart. And then you get this week that is better than you ever could have imagined. That's been what this week has been like. I'm grateful for it, and I'm grateful for you. Thank you for being on this journey with me and giving me some of your time. Thank you to everybody who is subscribing and liking and commenting. I treasure those. I can't tell you how much I treasure those. I've gotten some more pictures from a couple of you, and I'm grateful for that because I do have kind of a mixed up week. I'm not going to be able to put together a quilt parade in today's video, and probably not for the one on Sunday. Maybe on the one on Sunday, I'm not sure. We'll see. But I'm very grateful for everybody who's sending in information, sending in content, sending in pictures. And that's hugely helpful to me too. And again, thank you for subscribing and being here with me. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.